Hi guys, this is Tina from Shabbydabbydoodah. Welcome back to my channel. So I promised a while ago that I would come back with some more ideas for using our ribbons, and this idea here I just absolutely love. I think is probably my favourite way to be using the ribbons. So I'm going to demonstrate to you just how to make these. They're not very complicated, but they are just gorgeous, aren't they? I absolutely love them. So what I have got here is a few of my ribbons that I've coloured, you know, ready for this project. So this one here, for instance, this was originally a red ribbon with the black, you know, edging. And I've just dyed it with some of my sprays, my dilutions and my distress oxides. Oh, look, matches my ring. And then these two, I've done exactly the same. I've just dyed them with, again, some of those sprays and things like that. I thought that I would do some in these kinds of shades because actually most of the ones that I had done, for some reason, they just seem to be, you know, in blues and things. I don't know why, but every one that I have done has been with this Grosgain ribbon. I don't know whether other ribbons would work, but we can also, you know, try some in some Grosgain ribbon in a minute. So yeah, these are obviously, you know, ribbons that I have now transformed, I guess, you know, from their bright kind of initial states. So all I'm going to do is take my first piece and just fold it over roughly so that I see roughly how big that needs to be to make my base for my ribbon. And then what I'm going to do is cut that into 3. Now we can see I'm not going to have quite enough, so I'm going to have to make them slightly smaller. So I'm just going to kind of, I folded it there into 3s. I hope this makes sense. Just so that my pieces are more or less the same size. Okay, and I'm just going to cut those down like that. I mean, they don't have to be identical, you know, again, as with everything that we make, you know, nothing has to be too precise or anything, so don't worry too much. And then all I'm going to do is literally fold my pieces. I'm going to try and do this here where you can see it maybe a little bit clearer, onto each other and glue them down. So I'm just going to glue this one down here into that sort of middle section. And then I'm just going to glue the other half in like that. Okay. And I'm just going to do that, exactly that, with all 3 of my bits of ribbon. So take them over and I just then pop a little dab of glue there, and then a little dab obviously from the other side. And to be honest, I mean, you could probably stitch these, you know, do them sort of as suits you. I mean, for me, my stitching's not great, so for me it's just miles easier to just glue them. But of course, you know, you may find that stitching is, you know, actually what suits you best. So again, play around. I never kind of think that my way is the best way. It's just the best way for me at that time. You know, it might be the best way for me because I just haven't really thought of another better way to do it as yet. But, you know, then I read through comments and people have all sorts of other wonderful ways to do things. So play around and just find the way that suits you best. Okay, so that's my 3 pieces now. And then all I want to do is start by making a very small cross with my pieces, if you see what I mean. So just very small like that. So it's almost like another little ribbon shape, if you see what I mean. And all I'm going to do is just glue that down on top of the other one. So like that. Okay. And I mean, hot glue, although dries pretty instantly, you know, you've got a couple of seconds there that you can, you know, move it around slightly, very slightly. And then you're going to take your top ribbon, or, you know, your final one, and that will just go across straight on those 2 layers, if that makes sense. So this is going to be like the straight one and the other 2 are sort of at an X. So Just glue that down like that. Okay, like that. And then you're just going to take some lace. So let's see what we've got. I've got some of this grey lace, which actually that might look quite pretty on this as a sort of contrasting piece. Ooh, hot glue threads getting everywhere now. I'm just pulling things off the desk because they're getting caught in the hot glue. And then all you're going to do is kind of make a little, like a ruffle type shape at the top. So again, I like to just use my glue, but again, you know, you could probably stitch this, to be perfectly honest. Like that, and then like that. Okay, so you've folded it into the shape that you want it. Okay, okie dokie. And then at this point you can obviously trim off edges and things like that. So oops, just okay, right. Very messy on the hands, this project, if you're using the hot glue anyway. Maybe not if you're stitching. So like that. Now that's obviously the whole width of that piece. So you can leave it that wide, or of course you could take it down slightly. I might just take mine down slightly at the corners or at the sides. So I just then, oops, I could do with my other scissors. These ones are not brilliant with fabric anymore. They're gone a bit blunt. Okay, and at that side as well. You could just trim off your top bit a bit if you need to. I mean, it doesn't really matter because nobody's going to see, obviously, the top of this. Like that. I think it's better, just slightly smaller, isn't it? And then all you're going to do is obviously stick your whole piece onto that lace. Like that. Okay. Like that. And then you're going to want to just put something gorgeous in the center of there. Now, if I just pull in my, you know, my ones that I've already done, and I can just show you a couple of the ideas that I used. So I've used here, these are just printables, which I've punched into an oval shape, and then I've patinaed them around the edge and then glossy, embossed glazed over them. This one, I've used this gorgeous little gem kind of piece in there, and I also put some pearl trim, as I did on that one. This again, just another kind of gem there, another gem here. This one is a button, and I just, you know, clipped the stem bit off of the button to use. This one I've used a little flower, and again, this one is a gem. So you can just kind of muck about and see what pieces that you've got that would look good on here. So if I just pull in some of my Curator's Collection florals, if I can see them. Oh, would you believe it? I've obviously used them somewhere and taken them out of my little box. So that's just typical, isn't it? Hold on. Let me just double check. Because it could be that I'm just being, you know, blind as a bat and missing them, but no, I don't think so. Right, let's put in my portraits and see if I've got any portraits that are small enough to make a centre. So I've got this here. Now, she's probably going to be, because this is my small oval punch, which this might be going to be just way too small, but let's have a look. Okay. Whoa. Oops. Now she's on the floor. Oh, thank goodness my floor's clear now. I could actually spot her. Otherwise, she was at risk previously of kind of getting lost. Actually, she's perfect size. So all I'm going to do for her is, I think, punch another one so that she's a bit thicker, because, you know, otherwise she's quite flimsy. I'm just going to glue the two together, just with my, you know, normal glue, like that. Oops. Now this oval punch, this is a very teeny one, I have to say. I'd ordered it a while ago from Amazon, and when it arrived, I actually thought, oh gosh, what use is that? You know, that's just minuscule. I'm never going to use that. And I'd packed it up and filled out my returns form to send it back. And then I was doing something else, and I thought, oh, actually, that little oval punch would come in handy. I'm trying to see. It's 2.5 centimetres by 1.9. So, I mean, it's very, very tiny. But for something like this, it's actually just, you know, just perfect size. Okay, so I'm just going to bring in my book page, and I'm just going to then emboss glaze this. So I'll just do a little bit of distressing around the edge like that. And then actually what I should do is probably patina it. Now, did I patina these first or after? It's hard to say. Well, perhaps I did it after. Okay, so because I did these a few weeks ago, it's hard to remember now what, you know, what I've done. So I'm just going to emboss glaze this with my antique linen embossing glaze. Okay. Take that out. Right, I'm just going to quickly emboss this. Okay, I'm back. Now, I actually had to redo another one because I'll just quickly show you. I totally forgot, but I haven't had much success using that glossy kind of photo paper with the embossing powder. So what I then had to do was give it a second coat because it was looking very blotchy. And now you can barely see her because she's covered in the yellowy colour of the antique linen. So I did it on the non-glossy photo paper. I did still emboss it twice, but as you can see, it looks 100% better, obviously, than this one. So yeah, that was kind of all I did with that. And then all I'm going to do is just go lightly around the edge with some of this patina stuff to get a sort of metally looking frame, I guess, going around the edge of that. Oops. I have to use a bit more than that because it's not really showing up very much. Okay. Perhaps I used this first last time. I can't really remember, I'm afraid. Or maybe I will have to go around with some Inca Gold to make the frame. Well, I think this is showing actually now. It's just that my lighting's not particularly great to see. But yeah, I think it is showing. Okay, so it's got a very delicate kind of frame around there, if you can see. So I'm just going to leave that to dry, and then that can obviously go on to that first one. Let me move this now out of the way. Right, so we'll make another one. Let me just get a wipe and clean my hands before I obviously patina everything in sight. Okay, right. Okay, right, let's clean my hands off. So we're just going to do exactly the same thing with this one. So again, I'm just going to kind of go in roughly the size that I would like each piece to be. Hopefully I will have enough with this one. Yeah, pretty much. So I'm just going to trim off that little tiny piece there. Oops. Okay. So I just measure these out, try and keep them a bit straight because otherwise they're not going to be very accurate. This has obviously been folded kind of around a little spool, so this is obviously a little bit creased and not really therefore wanting to play the game, but hopefully it will be fine when we actually come to use it in a minute. Okay, so get rid of those little bits of ribbon off. And we're just going to do exactly the same thing. So we're going to kind of take the first piece and then just glue that down, you know, just somewhere where we think looks roughly the middle. And then we're going to bring in the other opposite piece, so that actually could do with coming back a little bit. Okay, and then this side. that. Okay, and what I quite like to do is just have it there as a guide then for my other ones. So then I can roughly kind of see, you know, where I need to kind of stick the other pieces in the middle, so as I get them all roughly the same size. So a bit of glue there, and then glue the other one down just like that. Okay, and you know, they really don't have to be too perfect at all, so you know, don't worry too much. And then the final one, again, just use that as a bit of a sort of guide to help you, you know, measure up where you need your next one to be. And then a little bit the other side. Okay. Like that. Okay, right. So then again, what we're going to do is kind of do our little cross with two of them, like that. So just lay that over there like that. Okie dokie. Just going to get another glue stick, my glue's running a bit low and it will suddenly get to the point where it won't be working. Okay, and then we're just going to pop this one over the top, obviously, of those two. Like that. Okay, and then we'll do our other one to this point as well quickly now. So, well, we'll just try and cut this into thirds now, so. Whoops, doesn't have to be too accurate, but just, you know, just approximately similar sizes. So just chop that down. And then again on this end, just chop that one down like that. Oops. Okay, throw those bits in the bin. And then again, we're just going to go in with each of our edges. This one seems very tiny. Obviously didn't have quite so much ribbon on this one. But hopefully it's still going to, you know, still going to work and look nice. So going over there, whoops, like that. Sorry, very messy hands now. Very inky and gluey. Okay, and then we do our next one here. Just doing it over here on this white because I'm thinking hopefully you can see a little bit better. So I know I'm off to the side, but I thought that perhaps the ribbon wasn't actually showing that brilliantly on the black. So yeah, I hope this is okay. I just thought, although I'm over at the side, it's hopefully, you know, better than sort of viewing it on the black because the ribbon's not that, you know, showing up that brilliantly on the black. So yeah, I hope this is okay for everybody. Right, just going to glue this again sort of in the middle. Again, you could bring those in as a sort of guide area like that, and then a bit more glue to bring your other edge in. Oops, like that. Okie dokie, right. So then we're just going to put those together in the sort of crisscross as well. So we'll just take these two. I mean, it doesn't really matter which way up they go, but you might just have a sort of, you know, one way might be kind of leaning better or something. So just put those down there. So yeah, I mean, this one's going to be quite a tiny one, but you know, still cute, still very cute. I mean, I just think these look like, and there's probably a term for this, but you know, kind of women, they used to have these things at their necks not like on a choker, but more attached in between their collars of their blouses and undergarment type things that were on their dresses. I think they look like those. So yeah, really, really pretty and very vintage looking, I think. So I hope that you like these. Okay, right, so that's that one piled up now in the 3. And let's get some lace for these. Now, which lace shall I use for these? Kind of thinking ivory is probably the way to go for these. Oops. So let's just bring in some ivory lace. Okay. So this is gathered lace, but ironically I'm going to take it off the gather to just regather it. I probably could just use it on the gather, to be perfectly honest. Oh no, I can't, because then it's really, really long. Might be better on that one. No, it's pretty long. So I'm just going to chop that down a little bit. Okay. Oops, picked up my blunt fabrics type scissors. Blunt for fabric. They're not fabric scissors, but you know, blunt when using fabric. They're fine when using paper. And again, I'm just going to kind of fold this in to make it a little bit gathered like that. And then the last one, oops, just bring that in there. I'm just holding them down with my glue gun just while they stick for a moment. Whilst they're sticking, I'm just going to take another piece of lace there, ready for our next piece. Actually, could do with cutting it down a little bit more on the length or the height. Okay, so let's just pick this one up. Okay, and I'll tidy this up in a minute, but I think what we'll do is glue the next ruffly piece down as well. So again, just kind of bring one side in, bring the middle, and then bring the other side in like that. Okay, just pinch it in, hold it in place with the glue. Right, there we go. Okay, so I think this one's probably slightly bigger, so I'll use this one for this. And I'm just going to, again, trim it up a little bit at either side. Trim it up there a little bit, and then on this side as well. Okay. Just trying to see which is the right way and the wrong way for the lace. Oh, hopefully that's the right way. And then we're just going to glue our little bow thing. I don't know really what to call it, but this piece we're going to just glue down onto the lace like that. Okay. Okie dokie. Oops, I'm just going to trim that little piece that's kind of showing there at the back. Oh, now I've cut the ribbon. Oh gosh. What a disaster. What a disaster. Okay. Well, it doesn't really matter because it doesn't show. So that's that one, and then this one, just peel this off the mat. And again, just trim this down slightly. It doesn't need coming in much, actually, this one. So tiny bit here, tiny bit here, and then just a little bit across here. Okay. And then we're just going to take our bow and just pop that down. So again, just along there. And you know, like here where I've got that overhang, I can just trim that down now. So I thought that it looked a bit long, so I wanted to just have it sort of a bit lower again, but that's then held the lace in place without me having to chop it down and redo it. So okay, let me just chop that bit off. There we go. Okay, so we've got our 3 kind of base pieces. So let me just gather up all these little bits of scraps, and we're going to just bring them back in like that. Now we've got our lady, which we were having on here. I can't help but think now maybe she looks better on another one. Oh, she looks quite nice on that one actually. Okay, right. And then we'll just see what other pieces we've got, but also Just wondering whether I've got any of that pearly trim left. So I might not. I might have used it all actually in my tassels that I made. Let me just have a look in my... Oh no, I don't believe it. I have actually used it all, I think. I doubt I have, to be honest. I probably put it somewhere and just can't remember now where it is. But yeah, I certainly can't see any at the moment, which is a bit of a shame because, you know, this pearly trim... Oops, if I can find any with pearly trim. This one. I mean, it looked really pretty, didn't it? Yeah, I can't actually see any. So, well, at this point, you would just glue some of your pearly trim, just kind of tucking it in somewhere into your piece. I'm going to just obviously have to go without the pearly trim because, of course, I can't seem to find it. So let's just go for this one here. Just pop her down on that purple, which looks lovely on there. Really lovely. Okay, so that's her. And then the next ones, let's see if I've got some nice blingy kind of centers, or again, you know, you could use a button. Just having a look. I mean, that's quite big, quite sort of monstrous on there. And the problem is this was, I don't know what this was off actually. I think it was off a necklace, but, oh no, it must have been a bracelet. I've got those little bits which are making that sort of wobble. I wonder whether I would be able to trim them off. Might have a quick look in a moment, but let's just have a bit more of a look through. These are all just things that I've pulled off of old jewellery and things like that. You know, that I just keep for sort of flower centres mainly. But I mean, actually, they'd work perfectly on these kinds of things too. So they're just handy to have. I mean, that looks really nice on that one, doesn't it? Let's have a look. Okay, right. Okie doke. So I'm going to go for those. Let me try and chop off those like claw type pieces here that are obviously making this very tricky to use. So just taking my little plier things. Okay. So I mean, it's not, you know, getting them off to a completely flat place, but flatter. And it might just be flat enough to make it not then move about. Let me just come down slightly more with a couple of these. Oops. Oh, no, it's not going to. Oh, I'm rubbish with things like this. This is why I'm not obviously a jewellery maker at all, because I would just struggle so much with any of these things. No, I don't think it still came off even after all that. They got like the most minuscule amount on the planet come off of there. So, right, well, I think I'll just have to go for it like this, to be honest. It's not going to do anything more. But that's fine, actually. I think that's going to work fine. So, again, just hot glue that down everywhere. And those pieces just literally are kind of sitting either side of that ribbon. So, you know, it's kind of lost that rocking motion by just lessening those great big claw type bits. So that's that one. And then this one we will just pop on here. Again, it's got a bit of a sort of pointy edge, which, I hope I don't ruin this because I really love this one. Let's see if I can just trim that down slightly. Oops. Might help if I was using the correct side of these tools. Okay. Well, it's flatter, so yeah, it will be fine. Once it's glued on there, it will kind of level it out, to be honest, so it's all fine. There we go. Pop that down like that. Okay, so that's our 3 that we've just done. So they're just gorgeous, aren't they? I'm going to grab a cup of tea and then we'll try one with some sort of satin ribbon and see how that comes out. I see no reason why it wouldn't just look gorgeous, but you know, you just can never tell. So I will be back in a moment. Right then, I'm back. So let's grab in some of this satin ribbon, and I've got some of this gorgeous brown, which, you know, looks very vintage to me anyway. So let's do exactly the same thing. If we just trim our 3 lengths, kind of approximately the same size. Oops. Okay. So I'm just going to trim this here, like that, and then at this end, like that. Okay. Oops. Now flicked ribbon in with my tea. No, it's not actually in with my tea. It was just in the saucer, but hey, it wouldn't surprise me to flick it in my tea. That's not beyond the, you know, the realms of possibility, is it? Okay. I don't think this has really got a right side and a wrong side, but possibly has. I'm not sure. Okay, so we're going to just then again go straight in here to the middle, you know, just approximately where the middle is. I mean, you know, it doesn't matter too much. And then obviously with the other piece, like that. Okay. Piece number 1. So, I mean, I just thought this was like a great way to use some of your ribbons. And, you know, again, even those kind of brighter decorative ones, if you dye them first, then, you know, they just turn out brilliant. I mean, I'm not saying that all ribbons are going to dye brilliantly, but having said that, I'm sure with enough playing around, they probably will. It's just a case of finding something, I guess, to dye them with. You know, as I say, I mean, this is just like a bit of a first stab, really. But yeah, definitely I was so thrilled with kind of these little pieces because I just think they're so gorgeous, you know, for a cover or anything really like that. I think they're just absolutely awesome. So yeah, I hope that you guys like them too. And our final one. Sorry, I really have got glue threads literally hanging off me. Okay, so again, just take this one. And then just into the other side. Okay, right. So that's our satin ribbons like that. And then we're just going to layer those across. So like that. Okay. And this one here in the middle. And also the other thing is, this one here, for instance, I did 2 different ribbons. So you can always mix and match your ribbon up. You know, they don't have to all be the same like these. You know, mix and match your ribbons a little bit. But, I mean, for this, you know, video, I'm just doing all the same. But, you know, there's no reason why you have to do the same. You can mix and match and, you know, get some different looks going on. So, that one there. Oops. Okay, just got a bit of hot glue thread there. Doesn't really matter too much because it's going to be covered up with the, you know, whatever we're going to use for the centre anyway. But and again, I'm thinking probably just the ivory lace is, you know, going to be best, I think, for this. Yeah, I think that's going to look nice. And I mean, you know, you could always you know, distress ink your lace or something like that if you wanted it a little bit darker. So perhaps we'll do that, in fact, on this one. So let's just get my vintage photo and we will just ink that up. Oops. Well, she says we're going to ink that up. Now, where's my ink thing? There it is, behind my cup. Okay, right, sorry, my desk is getting a little bit crowded and the cup of tea definitely hasn't helped, but I was quite thirsty because I've been doing a couple of videos back to back, so it makes you quite thirsty after a while of talking. So, right. So just ink that up. I mean, doesn't that just change the whole appearance of that lace, you know, with just like no effort whatsoever? But that lace looks completely different now. So again, just going to go in and just glue it exactly as we did the other pieces. I mean, I just go in like 3 times. That's just, you know, how I kind of done it. But of course, you know, play around and see what works best. Okay. Just hopefully that's cooling down a bit now. Yeah, okay. Right, so let's just pick that up. And I'm just going to, again, trim that down just on the sides. Like that. And then just across the top. Okie dokie. And then we'll just get our bow and just pop that down on there. Might have to come in slightly smaller actually at the sides, this one. You know, and you could probably do this with quite wide ribbon. You know, I don't think it would work particularly great with really tiny ribbon, but I mean here, this one's quite a wide one, and that just turned out lovely. So, you know, again, play around and sort of see what works best. But I just think they look really, really vintage and really just like, you know, they literally from somebody's collar, you know, from a lady's kind of lovely collar. Okay. There's probably a name for those things, but yeah, I don't know what the name is, I'm afraid. So that's that. And then again, let me just see if I've got a lovely centre to put in that. So again, just kind of going through my centres here. I've got this one. I mean, that's kind of bright on there, but really nice. What do you think? Or do you think that's a bit too bright? Honestly, I've had these for a little while now, and yeah, I got them from eBay, and actually I've ordered some more because I love them so much. They're from China, so you know they do have a bit of a wait. So yeah, I'm currently waiting for my next lot, but I think they're about £3 something for 10. But yeah, I absolutely love them. Aren't they just the most gorgeous, gorgeous blingy things? Just before I stick that on, I'm just going to try a couple of other things. So obviously I had that other one with the flower, so I'm just going to pull in a little flower and see whether a flower might look nice on this one. Let's just have a look. I've got again a red one. That's quite lovely, isn't it? I've got this pink one. The ivory one, which would have looked good, but it's very big, unfortunately. Oh gosh, what a tough decision this is. I'm not sure now. I really love them all, to be honest. I'm struggling a little bit to pick a favourite. Oh gosh. I think probably the red. Yeah, let's go for the red. We put those flowers back. And we will just then glue that one down. Okay. Aren't they just so gorgeous? Absolutely just so pretty, aren't they? And I mean, just to kind of give you an example, I don't know whether I've got anything laying about that I could kind of hold it on. What have I got? What have I got? What have I got? Okay, well, I've got a page here. So just to kind of give you a bit of a demonstration, I mean, obviously you wouldn't have that bow and that, but, you know, if this were a cover, say, for a journal, really, you could have it on there, although they're not very bulky, so you could have them on an actual page. You know, they're pretty flat. Again, it's going to depend what you use for your centre and how thick your ribbons are. But I mean, even this, which is quite thickish Grow Game ribbon, and it's got this big chunky centre, it's still reasonably flat. It's not kind of really bulky or anything like that, but how gorgeous are those? They're just really, really, really pretty on there, aren't they? Yeah, so yeah, I was excited to show them to you guys because I just thought they have such a really lovely vintage kind of look to them. And yeah, just probably my favourite way at the moment to use ribbons. I think they're just really, really, really pretty. I have to say, for me, it's a little bit of a problem because I'm inclined to just now make loads of these and just hoard them everywhere. But they're just lovely, aren't they? Yeah, so I hope that you like them, and hopefully it's kind of given you some, you know, some nice ideas as to things that you could do with your ribbons, and yeah, making these little fun collary type things. I don't know what to call them, but yeah, hope that you like them. So thank you so much for watching, and see you guys soon. Thanks then. Bye.